Today, in light of World Press Freedom Day, we bring you a special report on the state of press freedom in India. As journalists, we're tasked with the duty of informing the public and holding those in power accountable. India has a vibrant and diverse media landscape with over 400 news channels and more than 100,000 registered publications. However, journalists in India face a number of challenges, including attacks, harassment, and even imprisonment for their critical reporting. The government's treatment of the press has been cause for alarm. We'll hear from experts and senior journalists on the ground who have firsthand experience with these issues. As the world observed Press Freedom Day on May 3rd, a report published by the Reporters Without Borders brought to notice the state of press freedom in several countries across the globe. The data revealed that India had lost its earlier position from 2022 and scored a lower rank this year. India's rank dropped down from the 150th spot in 2022 to 161 in 2023's edition of the Press Freedom Index. This made the country rank below Pakistan and Afghanistan with respect to the concerned subject.
The atmosphere is from bad to worse, especially in the states that we named just now, UP, J&K, even in Delhi also, Madhya Pradesh, even in Bihar also. You see recently, one freelance journalist, a YouTuber was simply asking a minister in UP, at a public function, he simply asked the questions related to the development of her constituency, and he was in a problem and he was put behind the bars.
To rank each country, maybe it is the death of journalists, maybe it is the number of FIRs being filed. So if you look at that, yes, there is definitely an increase in the number of FIRs, in the number of criminal defamation cases, which is a draconian law.
Journalists in states like Uttar Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir face the highest number of attacks, with many behind bars or killed for their critical reporting. The BJP-led government in Uttar Pradesh has been accused of stifling press freedom by targeting journalists who dare to speak out against the government's policies.
Where there is a fascist type of the government, the presses only can proliferate, only can be free press where there is a multi-party system, or we can say that it's not a fascist type of BJP or RSS type of the body is there, where the Hindu Rashtra, it's a totally fascist type of things, So at their places, as far as in the socialist and dictatorship societies, there is no freedom of press. In communist regimes, no freedom of press. Only freedom of press is where the multi-party system and where you take care of the aspirations and feelings and perception of the minority also. If otherwise in a mature democracy, you take care of that aspiration. That is the test of the democracy and freedom of press. If the minority people are not feeling threatened, suppressed in any way, then it means it's a liberal democracy, right democracy, and people are free.
Uttar Pradesh is becoming another lab for Hindu Rashtra. Nearly 190 fake people have been killed in fake encounters. It was in the press. Recently, Atiq Ahmed and his brother and his son, they were, of course, they were branded and people looked at them as a gangster, and they did many that type of activities also. But that they were openly killed. Even police encounters, fake encounters, it's the highest. At the same time, that's a state where after Gujarat, this upper political heavy-handedness and the strong hand of the state that is made to feel to the people, to the minorities, to the media everywhere in UP. So I think they are trying to make it another model state where what Hindu Rashtra would be like afterwards.
I hope that independent the media is, has taken that role and bringing out, the news in a perspective that it should be. The mainstream media, I think, will learn its lesson on its own. Unfortunately, they are driven by advertisements, and that is why they are not able to speak against anybody who gives them advertisement.
The journalists are working, no big instance, no glaring instance has come forward to that extent. But as I told you, even in Rajasthan, in Mewat area, for example, Mewat is a Muslim dominated area that has the border districts of Haryana and Rajasthan. Rajasthan has the Congress government, the Alwar area. So it could be dicey for a journalist even in a Congress governed state when he or she has to do a story on Bajrang Dal or any kind of activity. If any violence takes place in any region, in any area, say, then the journalist can be in a problem in a Congress governed state also. It is not only that the BJP, that the BJP governed states are, just witnessing this situation. We were in Bhajanpura area of the northeast Delhi, me along with my colleague Shahid, and there was one woman journalist with us, we three from the caravan. We went to that place the next day to do a story on how the RSS guys threatened uh, the Muslims in a particular locality that was just behind the Bhajanpura police station. So we were there. My colleagues, they just started taking shots of the saffron flags of the RSS in a street, and suddenly, two people came from this side, two people came from that side, including the woman also. They surrounded Shahid and they started snatching his camera. How are you taking the photographs? So this was a situation. It was a very hostile crowd, that surrounded us. So after looking at the identity card of Shahid Tantre, they became more hostile to him. And I had to really it was a very difficult situation for we three. And our female colleague, she ran with the camera to another corner. Some people ran behind her. Then she was saved by some Muslim women after she crossed over to the street that was a Muslim dominated street. But finally, me and Shahid, we met our colleague at a police station. She narrated her story. It was a Ghauri story, how she was sexually harassed. So it was a big episode, and they were actually targeting Shahid and that girl, being Muslims. So this was a harrowing experience. We got an FIR lodged, but nothing happened after that.
Media censorship and harassment of journalists in Punjab is not isolated, as similar instances have been reported in states like Uttar Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir. In March 2023, the state government of Punjab shut down internet services for up to a week, citing public safety concerns during the search for Waris Punjab D Chief Amrit Pal Singh. Multiple Twitter accounts belonging to journalists were withheld, including BBC Punjabis. The International Federation of Journalists condemned the government's censorship and harassment of journalists. It described these moves as dire impositions on press freedom and democracy in India.
Social media, social media is a quite sizable, it's not a one channel. Lot of channels are there. Particularly in this recent phenomena when Amrtapal episode started on March 18. So at least 15, 20 web channels were either stopped or those who were running, they were called to the police station, threatened, browbeaten and all that. Even, some of the web channels who were getting the official advertisement, government advertisement, that was stopped to them. So one team is there in Delhi, in Chandigarh. Mostly the Delhi people are there. They are manning this Pan media network, that's called Pan Media Network. So that is totally controlled by the most of the people. They have come from the Delhi. So they are controlling the whole things. 20 at least 20 web channels were stopped. Either they were asked to file in line. Those who still try to do anything whatever they want, so they were stopped. By coercive methods, by police method and other methods.
They have, even you have a private Facebook page, but you are also working somewhere in certain media. On your privately some Facebook you are writing, on that account they shut down that pages of media. So this is a height, this is the extent they are going to. I think this is very dangerous trend. Whether it's a Twitter or other Facebook or it is a YouTube, any part of social media, that they immediately, not only that, they shut down internet totally. You can't send any message, you can't receive any message, you can't receive even news. So if they can go to that extent, and India is becoming very fast, I think it will achieve a highest number of internet shutting in the list. When you index, you will calculate an index. So there it will also appear very high.
Just I still feel that I am optimistic. As I said, I believe in the theory of development and decay. So if I think we have already touched the low ebb, the media has touched the low ebb. So we will only resurrect after that. We will go up, and definitely media in days to come will definitely resurrect.
In recent years, the Indian government has searched media offices in response to dissent, seen as efforts to suppress media and silence opposing views. For instance, Dainik Bhaskar was raided in 2021 and the Quint's office in 2018. A few months ago, tax officials also raided BBC offices in India weeks after a documentary critical of Prime Minister Narendra Modi was released, which was later blocked by the government.
Can you imagine that we don't have a press commission, Only we have the press commission too. First, during the Nehru period in 1956, something around. And second press commission was after the emergency when Janta government came, in power. 77, 76, 78, I think they said. Only two press commissions which determined the policies and controls of the freedom of press. For example, cross media ownership should not be there, If one organization, one media house is running a television, that it cannot have a newspaper at the same time.
Yes, the recent glaring example was the income tax raid at the BBC office in Connaught Place in Delhi. Yeah. What more could we expect? What more could we see? How more bad the situation can arise. A day before yesterday, I think it was yesterday only, that the Twitter handle of the BBC Punjabi News is withheld. So you see, that is the situation. This is another glaring example how the government is stopping the journalists, from working, from saying their words, or even the activists on social media like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Recently, a senior journalist of Amritsar in Punjab faced a similar problem. His Twitter account is still withheld, and it is because of the Modi government.
We can say one thing, that in the BJP ruled states, it is happening more, and in the is happening. The number of such cases are many more in the in the BJP ruled states, and but such things are happening in the non-BJP states also. So they also need to be called out.
180 countries, our number was 133. That has slipped to 150 now, which means our press freedom is deteriorating very fast. There is a very popular term which have evolved here during the last 5-6 years. Godi media means media for the state. and they speak out, they carry news, and they carry any story that's very comforting to the state, particularly this central government, ruling government.
On April 6, the Indian government passed the notifications regarding amendments to the Information Technology Rules, known as the Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code of 2021. The Editors Guild of India has issued a strong statement against what it calls draconian rules that will permit a government-appointed committee to label information relating to the union government as fake, false, or misleading. The move is part of a wider trend in India where there has been a rise in pro-government channels pushing the Hindutva agenda, as well as sedition charges being used against dissenting voices. Fake news and disinformation have become increasingly prevalent in India in recent years, particularly during election campaigns, resulting in an environment of fear and hate. Political parties use IT cells to spread false information, while journalists critical of the government are often subjected to online trolling campaigns, resulting in a chilling effect on free speech.
But in every corner of the world, freedom of the press is under attack. Truth is threatened by disinformation and hate speech seeking to blur the lines between fact and fiction, between science and conspiracy. The increased concentration of the media industry into the hands of a few, the financial collapse of scores of independent news organizations, and an increase of national laws and regulations that stifle journalists are further expanding censorship and threatening freedom of expression. Meanwhile, journalists and media workers are directly targeted on and offline as they carry out their vital work. They are routinely harassed, intimidated, detained, and imprisoned.
The recent slip of India's rank on press freedom from 150 to 161 has sparked concerns among journalists and media watchdogs. This has led to a Twitter uproar with prominent voices such as Dhruv Rathi and Manisha Pandey, Ashok Swain, expressing their disappointment with the state of press freedom in the country. Many have pointed out that India's current ranking is worse than that of Pakistan, a country often criticized for its curtailment of press freedom. According to Reporters Without Borders, 55 journalists and 4 media workers were killed in the line of duty in 2022. The United Nations chief says the media is under attack in every corner of the world and warned countries to stop the targeting of truth and those who report it.
Hello, my name is Jane.
Do you ever wonder what's behind the news? What is it that you are not being told? Going behind the news and finding the truth. Let the truth flow. Sat Rouge Network. Let the truth flow.